Welcome back to another episode of $1,000 Car Guy. I'm your host, Andrew. And at this point, I'm not sure if this is a project build or a vlog or a how-to for Mustangs and Miatas. I don't know. But on this episode, I think we're going to be focusing again on the interior wiring. Specifically, we're trying to get that good ECU wiring out of there. And the end goal is to be able to start the car from outside the car. Anywho, this is the type of mess that I'm worried about. So I need to unplug these and then also check ignition as I go, which I have rigged up to here. You can see that in previous episodes. And I have the clutch bypass, so I don't have to press that in anymore. So I'm hoping to remove that mess tonight. Also remove that connector and then start working my way over to the passenger side. So that's the goal. So I went ahead and unplugged those two connectors. They were going to the airbag module. I probably could have just read that to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. So basically how this whole project has gone so far, I unplugged those two connectors and now I'm going to see if it starts. So just like that, we keep moving until it doesn't start anymore. So that's where I'm going to call it quits tonight. We did get quite a bit more wiring undone. As you may or may not be able to see, I was able to pull a lot more of the driver's side apart. Unplugged a lot more connectors, boxes, which I'm not sure what they do. I think I'm going to need to pull the interior out next to make sure that I do not clip the fuel lines. What I mean is the fuel pump electrical lines. I want to make sure that I don't nick them because the car may run for a little while even though there's no new fuel being pumped into it. I don't want that to give me a false reading that something that I unplugged was super important. So I'm going to end this episode here and pick it up tomorrow. Day 2. Yesterday wasn't really much of a success, but it wasn't a failure either. I ended up pulling out a lot of additional wiring that was starting to run to the back of the car. So my main concern is trying to find out where the fuel line wiring is plumbed. I'm guessing it's on the passenger side, but I'm not really sure. So I've hit a point now where I need to get underneath the carpet. And in order to get underneath the carpet, I need to remove the seats, and then the back seats, and then all the trim inside. Because I want to be able to start cutting wires at this point. I've been a big baby about not wanting to cut off connectors. But stuff like this, that can all go at this point. I don't need it. I've already found the majority of everything that I need to make the car run. So tonight's goal is to get the seats out, which should be a lot of fun since I can't see underneath of them and I can't pivot them and I can't slide them forward because they're electric. Yeah. In case you're wondering what the seat bolt sizes are, it's 15 millimeters. I keep being surprised how everything is metric in this car. There are little plastic trim rings that go around the sides of the seat. Just tug at them and they come out. So because the bolt closest to the trans tunnel in the back is underneath the seat because it's so far back currently, I had to put on a normal wrench, lock it in place, and then hit it with a hammer until it finally broke loose. Now I'm hoping the ratchet will take care of the rest. So it turns out, with the angle that's on the ratchet wrench, I can't get the right angle coming in to get the bolt. So I'm taking the bolt out 1/8 of a turn at a time with the box wrench. So because I couldn't reach the 4 bolts underneath, and because I couldn't reach the 10 millimeter hex screws that are holding the seat to the frame rail, I got pissed off and just busted it off. Remember to unclip the connectors underneath the seat. There are 2 of them.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Yep. The motorized cradle is still in there, so desperate times call for desperate desperateness. I'm really upset with not being able to remove these bolts. Despite throwing out a lot of this car, I am saving things like the bolts in case I ever need that random bolt. My MO seems to be when I get pissed off about something, I just move on to a separate section of the car. That's where I left those. So I want to see what's behind this shroud where the wiper motors are. Oh look, some kind of ant carrying off a baby. Anyway, I want to take the shroud off so I can see if I can just snip this plug or disconnect it and pass it back through the firewall. The whole thing looks like it's held on by about 8 7mm bolts. I'm going to do the hard ones first. That way I feel better about the entire project. What a terrible spot to put a bolt. I think I'll disconnect the battery while I'm here. Well, honestly, that did not go at all how I planned. The point was to try and find a place where those wires go, but instead they just loop back down there, so no luck there. My next guess is possibly this harness. So that's where I'm going to end tonight's episode. As you can see, I've been working up a sweat, and I'm bleeding in a lot of places, and I think I bruised my finger here. Anyway, we'll pick it up tomorrow.